true, but grow from YouTube. Evolve from VooDoo. Alter what I've been through. My shit's the new jujitsu. Move just like Vishnu. Yes, we pay dues and let that 223 choose or kiss my blue suede shoes. Never look in my eyes. We hold the meeting outside. The element of surprise. The elegant and the wise. Elephant is my size. The testament that don't lie. Heaven sent, so we fly. Represent till I die. Nothing else but Saga City. We drink whiskey out of double D titties. AK got 50. Just the best of holy shitty. We show no pity or no mercy. That's even if your pockets hurtin'. Rolls Royce or the casket curtain. Pleasure or the treasure searching. You niggas know I was that working. That's for certain. They call me Father Merchant. The Martian lurking. They got your baby mama twerking and baking biscuits. Everybody's your servant in the gangster living. This is the money religion.
Yeah.
We let the games begin, divide the boys from men.
Yeah.
We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. You see, I try to stay classy, but niggas don't like respect. A bunch of goons with hair on spoons and tattoos on their neck. A bunch of fools that'll lose their whole life in a bed. Around whores and corsets, more or less. Money's married to stress. When they birth life and death, we ask who fathered this mess. The dead from a pregnancy test got you asking what's next. Sell your flesh, cause you deserve the best, don't ya? Never know the aroma from a hairy choncha. Never know what side you want until your life's a goner. With that beef, we squeeze like limes on my corona. From California to Florida, we survive with slanted eyes and mob minds. Nigga, this is God's grind. We will see in due time, but believe in new crimes. Relief is for the good guys. Release the weak from true lies. Let them meet the chief of the blue skies. Why not? I'm from the 90s, nigga. It was dark and hell was high. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men. We let the games begin, divide the boys from men.
Dealing off the turf like it was never gonna run dry, that ain't no business. No other game is run so disorganized. Look around. Everything that is taking care of business is together. Dig it tight.
Illuminati probably got my money on it naughty. Illuminati probably got my money on it naughty. Gangsta, gangsta, yes I am. Dope man, can I cop me a gram? This big pimpin' on the 7 seas and all of the lands. This big money, we exchange the suitcases, shake hands. This is World War III, that is you versus me. I'll smoke your bones, a tombstone, nigga, what shall it be? Get that money, lace my skull in jewelry. Never hungry, it is you that I eat. A cannibal, an animal, whenever you see my face. I just look in that bitch's eye, she stay in her place. I just look in the judge's eye, he dropping the case. And when I look in the Pope's eye, he bow and say praise. Illuminati probably got my money on it naughty. 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 Have a halo of horns, money folds for the scorns. Las Vegas battle board, nigga, you have been born. Nigga, you have been told it's only diamonds and gold mixed with blood and some souls. Where we from, no one gon' know. A fallen angel on these hoes, that's the game that I chose. Welcome to the concrete jungle, here's your gun and a rose. Hard hat and shell toes, Bugatti black clothes, champagne and bank rolls. That's all a nigga knows. This black heart art ain't for show, and it ain't for the copy. Ain't no nigga gon' stop me. I get respect just like Gotti. Illuminati probably got my money on the naughty. Illuminati probably got my money on the naughty. Illuminati probably got my money on the naughty. Illuminati probably got my money on the naughty.
What's going on? What's going on? The brother is showing the gargoyle. Welcome to the Money Religion. This is the guy 720 up in this motherfucker. I'm gonna be interviewed today with the brother Brick Alter. You dig what I'm saying? He stepped out of the comment section and materialized. You dig? And said, nigga, we got to take this to a whole nother level. So there's gonna be a multitude of interviews that you see with me and the brother right here. We going in on the Ethereal law. We might do a couple of questions about the Shaka Zulu. You know, before we get into it, remember I have the sale going. The Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1, 2, and 3, the Black Man's Bible, and the Ethereal Law. You receive them in paperback, and then you get the Real Nigga Etiquette, the Real Nigga Etiquette VooDoo edition, and you get the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Women, Volume 1 and Volume 2, all for $100. But those 4 books come in PDF form. So get them now. The sale is going. I got sales going that you can customize at millenniumdvds.com all month. So just let me know. Hit the email, thegod720@gmail. And my music is on all streaming platforms, as you may know. And let's get into it. You hear me? You can talk. Say something.
Yeah. You hear?
Okay, yeah. You nice and clear. Yeah. So. Excuse last time, it ain't gonna be none of that this time and from here on out. And let me show you something, because you's a medieval nigga. So watch this shit. The Lannisters poster that you got behind you, right?
Oh.
Watch this. This is the Lannister hat.
Oh. Hey, let me tell you something. Hey, that's ill. I didn't know there was a Lannister hat.
I was just looking through hats one time, and I said, "Yo, that's my symbol right there. That's my heraldry. But that's my heraldry. You know, let me go ahead and cop that." And then it was a Lannister. It was the Lannister symbol.
Them Lannisters, man. Let me tell you, that hey, they was hard, especially the father.
Yeah. No, I mean, the European put it in your face on how they get down, and the Lannisters had some fuckery going, but they did put the motherfucking foot down on nigga. We operate by the doski up in this motherfucker. You dig what I'm saying? So yeah, Game of Thrones was definitely a phenomenal show, and Game of Thrones is credited as being one of the energies that kicked me off into the lane of writing everything on the medieval. So you know what I'm saying. But yeah, let's get into the Ethereal law. I'm excited about this because nobody really brings up this book or what was stated in it. I think it was a little bit over people's heads. I don't know. How do you feel? Tell me what's going on.
No, well, anybody who enjoyed reading the Real Nigga Etiquette, this is right up your alley, man. I would like to think of this as like the wrapping up of it, like the final. This is it right here. If you have the Real Nigga Etiquette, I mean, you have to have this. You have to have both books. Okay. What I like about this too, just like the Real Nigga Etiquette, but this is a bit more the energy's different because of the font that you used. So it brings a total different energy to this. But what I would like to ask you first, please tell us, what is ethereal law? What does it mean? What is it?
Okay. Ethereal law is basically the behaviors that have developed within our socialism since caveman, cavewoman, Adam and Eve time period. These, and that was the first stage. That was the freshness of us being in existence, quote unquote. Let's just put it there. I don't want to get into the technicalities of the Lisa. I mean, the what's her name skeleton that was found, or the Homo erectus, or the Homo sapien. We're not going to do all of that. We're going to step into extremely the psychological zone and how our social has developed over time. Now, because anything that is in repetition becomes law, right? So just like they discovered gravity, that apple still drops in the same format today. Correct? You see? So this is law. Okay? Fish live in water. This is a law. This is a repetition that has occurred throughout time that has now embedded its space into a law mechanism because of its repetition. So even within our communication and our behaviors with each other, man and woman's behaviors in their communication, and also our group communications and discoveries with other groups of humans, there is a mechanism that happens with the exception of cultures or the exceptions of religions or whatever mythology system or exceptions emergings of folklore and all of those types of things. So the repetitious behavior of humans has been embedded inside the space of the ether, okay? And also within the space of what we want to call the ether, I place what people want to call the Akashic records inside our atmosphere. It's not really a thing that is far out galactical when we want to talk about Akashic records. What is the Akashic records and how does that merge with the ethereal law? Just like I said, repetition. So war, okay? All the wars that have occurred in the human space are in, quote unquote, the Akashic records. These Akashic records are in the atmosphere of our planet. So, and and that goes into the as high, so below is the way it's termed, right? So as high, so below, whatever the fuck. And basically, it's a mirror, is what they're calling the sky. The sky is a mirror. So within that space of the mirror, all human activities, behaviors, and history is loaded into that mirror. And that is the atmospheric ethereal law space. Okay. Right. If that makes sense.
Okay, definitely. Tell me something. Break this, the meaning of the door. You could have chosen the specific about this cover, and I remember you telling me it was difficult to get this particular image, this look, but why the door?
Because like I referenced inside the ethereal law, I talk about the back door to the human, and we're not going to put that in any type of sexual context. Let's be mature about what we're doing here. I know you're not there, but I'm just saying for any randoms in the audience, you dig what I'm saying? Let's be mature, and basically when you read, you're reading inside the home. Right, so you had to enter a door to sit down and read. Even if you entered the door of the train to sit down and read on your train ride or the bus ride, or when you're, at a job, you usually don't read outside. Majority of reading is done inside doors. So the back door reference is correlated to the cover, which means that you are now walking through the back door when you enter into that book.
Okay. Yeah.
And that is the space of the unknown type thing. You dig what I'm saying?
Movie would say like entering a portal.
Right, there you go. A Stargate. Okay, Stargate Publishing. Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah, Okay.
And then also, what inspired you to put these symbols on the back of the book here?
I didn't know what to do with the back cover, just like what happened with Real Nigga Etiquette. I didn't know what to do with the back cover, just like the Real Nigga Etiquette VooDoo edition. Show the VooDoo edition back cover, because boy, that one came out hard. No, the VooDoo edition, Yeah, that one came out. Woo! That is spicy. Yeah, and I put the gold grill on the skull. You dig what I'm saying? So what happened was, there was a lot of things that occurred with the Real Nigga Etiquette that people liked. And I also understand within the realm of art, and for you to keep your art alive, you must encode a form of mystery, right? So Real Nigga Etiquette. So usually when you want to get a synopsis of a book, you read the back. Right. So if you look at the back of one of my books and there's nothing there, it deepens the mystery. chord. You see what I'm saying? So then I understood what position I was in intellectually when it came to the ethereal law. Yo, your camera is getting fuzzy. I don't know why it did that. But I understood what position I was in, and it was after I wrote all 3 volumes of the Kicked Out of Heaven, and I was definitely in the position of accepting all systems, you know, which I never really had a neglect towards any system. I always studied every single system, but after the 3 volumes, I understood every system flows through me. You dig what I'm saying? And I also wanted to give that to you. So, and I also, with you looking at all those images on the back, accept existence, because all of those things are in existence, whether we're talking about Roman helmets, whether we're talking about Mayan symbols, whether we're talking about Hindu symbols, whether we're talking about Native American Indian symbols, African symbols. Symbols is a part of the human dynamic. It is in existence. And I definitely want, because, you know, when it comes to Black culture, we want to be divisive and very separative with a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's that white boy shit. Oh, that's that Chinese shit. Oh, that's that, you know, and not accepting the totality of what existence is. You know, shit. Accept existence, bro. It's all here. Study everything. You're not in a position you're not in a social position, a financial position. You're not in an intellectual position to be denying anything. You know, so, you know, I definitely wanted that. Yeah, it cleared up totally now. You got it clear now.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
now, what's interesting is you chose, when you shipped this book, this accompanied it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How does the Shaka Zulu, for anybody, I don't know if anyone has heard this is fire. A lot of his music is fire, but this, I'm talking about it because I got the hard copy that came with the book. Mm-hmm. Just playing the songs when the show opened. Mm-hmm. What is it about this album that made you want to really line it up with this book?
Well, I knew Shaka Zulu wanted to be updated. Okay. And the only way that I could update a figure of Shaka Zulu, and because we all grew up watching the movie, right? You know, it was on PBS and all of that shit all the time, right? Just like Roots and shit, right? So I understood. And then Zulu, you know, the New York uses the Zulu Nation, you know, all of that. So I wanted to update his gangster, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to update his gangster with classiness, because that was in the classy zone of the 1920s is when a solidification of what the stereotype of gangster was. It finally came to that heel, because before the 1920s, you got cowboys, you got rogues, you got a lot of, you know, highwaymen still level. It wasn't in the mafioso picture. You know what I'm saying? And if we look at it chronologically, 1920 zone is what birthed the Bumpy Johnson. You dig what I'm saying? Which came on. So, and then I also understood, and that's why Shaka Zulu is written in cursive like that. It has that sex appeal elegance to it. It has that sex appeal elegance to it that was never really applied to a figure of what Shaka Zulu was, being in African tribal, you know. But we have to ask ourselves, would the mentality of the Shaka Zulu in African tribal survive in 1920 gangsterism America? And I think he would, you know. And at that time, gangsterism was being beautified. You know, the prostitutes were being beautified at that time, right? And that's where we got the Cotton Club. That's where we got a lot of that type of shit, you know, where we got the Sammy Davis Jr. grew up through that phase, the fucking what's his name? another artist. Huh?
Yeah, a lot of especially the jazz artists, man.
Yeah, the jazz artists. I think with Duke Ellington was down during that time. That time, you know, it birthed a lot of our greats. You know what I'm saying? Those greats that are now forgotten. And I looked for the cover, and I wanted a cover that was sexy war. You know, all's fair in between love and war. So a gold pistol with a pearl handle was finite, and then gold and white are colors for a specific level of intellect that you achieved, and it merged beautifully. And I thought that was all that needed to be said for the cover of that album. You know what I'm saying? Was his name written in that cursive attached with the pistol, which signified the time period, which signified the essence, and it wasn't violent. It's not aggressive, you know. And I wanted it, and that's what sort of allowed the Shaka Zulu to come into America, was not being violent, not being aggressive, which is also what we saw in the movie, because he sat down and talked to the white boys and wanted to discover their line a lot. You see what I'm saying? So there was a lot that brought it in. And then the reason it's titled the Shaka Zulu is not only to rebirth who Shaka Zulu was into a new dimension, but also the fact that, you know, niggas thought I lost my nigga because I went too hardcore with the medieval. Niggas thought, this nigga want to be a white boy and shit. You know, yeah. So they thought I lost my nigga. You done lost your goddamn mind. You thought I done lost. Nigga, I ate some grits this morning, nigga. So I had to let niggas know, nah, nigga, this is me, B. Like, you know, just because I could devour all of this shit and spew it back out don't mean that I'm allowing it to change the character type of who I am as a person. You dig what I'm saying? Or to adjust, you know, my nigga core, you know what I'm saying, which I keep as a part of the essence of me. You dig what I'm saying?
So it's like if anyone was mistaken and thought you left, this was like confirmation that no,
right,
I ain't went nowhere. I just had to go and conquer this over here first.
You got it, bing, right there. Okay. You know, because that album came out after the Money Religion album. And the Money Religion album was all the heavy metal, all the Marilyn Manson and all of that shit, you know, and niggas thought, this nigga done went, this nigga crazy, you know?
Okay. Now, I'm going to get into the book.
Let's do it.
And the Ethereal Law, this is the beginning. This is first page. And something that just caught me here right away. All humans will be or will make themselves become a stereotype, or many of them over the course of their life.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Right. So what a stereotype is, we're living in the Western picture. And stereotypes were sort of identified and defined by Freud, and also Sigmund Freud, and also his understudy Carl Jung. You dig? But what I understood is that the spirituality for the operation of the stereotype was built during the medieval. You see? So either way it goes, we live in a system where you have to be identified. And this is also in the animal kingdom. The animal kingdom may see you, but what does the dog or the cat or the lion or the cheetah do? They come up to you, they sniff. They sniff your hands, they might sniff your crotch, and there's different reasons on why they do that. Animals sniff your hands to see if you're a killer of animals because they'll pick up the scent of blood on your hands. Okay? And then they sniff your crotch to see if you're sick or not, you know, which is something they do to other animals as well, to check your health status. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what we do, but we want to do it with our eyeballs. Okay, so when we see a person, their dress code and their attire immediately tells us where this person falls what group this person falls into, which lets us know what their capabilities are. Okay. Now that I've classified you, and even if my classifications are wrong or not, I've already built boundary spaces of what our interaction line is going to be. Now, when it comes to how Western civilization is designed, it's designed off of careers, job positions, job titles, and these are also stereotypes. Okay, so you have to be identified by one of these stereotypes, whether it be a garbage man, which comes with a uniform, comes with a smell. Okay, we have the policeman who comes with a uniform, comes with the walkie-talkie on the shoulder. We hear noise. Okay, with the policeman. Okay, comes with the fireman. The fireman wears extremely large attire and is identified with a truck. Okay, so there's a lot of, you see how that just happened? Each career title has a stereotype of operation that is a spirit that operates within it. And once you are identified underneath that career title, that lets me know where your comfort line is at. Okay, go ahead.
You know, you're saying that's interesting because one thing I notice when something happens to a person and it's brought out in the media. Here's an example.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say a black youth was killed by police.
Mm-hmm.
I notice one of the first things they bring up in the media is whether or not the person was a working individual, if they had a job. So, yeah.
Because this brings us to the space of contribution to society, which falls back on the Hegelian philosophy. And the Hegelian philosophy, Hegel is the one who taught Karl Marx, okay? The Hegelian philosophy clearly states, and I salute it, that you have to be a contributor to the society in which you consume from. If not, then your existence is invalid. What are you doing? You are basically a leech. You are a parasite. Okay, you are a maggot. Okay, who's eating and consuming off of the rest of the world, and this is what you're seeing on how Trump is operating. But this is logic. You see what I'm saying? Because we all have a position here. So if you don't fall into a career title, then that means, you know, you by default on how the human mind works, the percentage of you being a degenerate or a criminal in society goes up, since you can't identify a legal career title.
And I said youth, but that's not necessarily the case. What I meant was when a man usually has a fallout with police, if the man was killed, they always bring up if he had a job history and things of that nature. If you're too young, of course, you wouldn't. So that wouldn't apply to a youth. But
right, of course. But let me go this before you go to the next question. That's why I put myself in the space of an author more so than just being classified as a rapper.
Okay, because
of the respect society puts towards an author versus what they do with a rapper.
Right.
Rapper is Wild Coyote. We don't know if you're also a drug dealer. We don't know how much you're getting paid. We don't know who you're affiliated with. We don't know none of that shit when you say rapper. When I say author and then I say nonfiction historian, that automatically puts me in the studious space. But sometimes, because I'm a black male, they'll put me in a racist space. Like, oh yeah, this nigga's only looking through history to find racist shit. You dig what I'm saying? And also the way I title my books, you know, even though the way I title my books is extremely for marketing purposes. You have to understand that, because I ain't got nobody that's a marketer for me, nor can I put money in no marketer's hand. So I have to design my products in a way where they sell themselves. You dig what I'm saying? So keep going.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because the stereotypes are gross, and that's what definitely plays heavy in the media realm.
Yeah, black males, we have to fight against certain stereotypes in order to get in order to have a certain level of respect in society.
Constantly, because there's no of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
This one here, the laws of unity are too immoral and grotesque for your modern day understanding, for most to practice with love indiscriminately.
Yeah. But what was it? Read that last part.
Okay. It says the laws of unity are too immoral and grotesque for modern day understanding for most to practice with love indiscriminately.
Yeah, that's a heavy one. That is what you're reaching on is a lot of the dark side that you encountered in that kicked out of heaven right there. So basically, when you understand, okay, I'll keep it light because that is really a large question. So what we're looking at is the picture that I put up sometimes when we talk about how Europeans bathe. Let's just keep it light right there. You know, they used to sit in, hold on real quick. Okay. They used to sit in the bathwater for 2-3 hours playing games and playing the violin and eating the food in the wood tub with the water and not changing the water. So there's pissing, there's particles, there's all types of levels of DNA being mixed. That right there is your unity. You see, because unity goes into a biological level. And that biological level occurs with all of this immoral. And yes, I can feel it going on in the audience. Yes, all of those immoral practices are also inclusive because you have to understand that these cultures were doing these practices and rituals to their gods and goddesses far before Western civilization went across the world and wrote down laws that did not permit this type of activity. Okay, but are they committing this similar activity behind closed doors? We can see that by the reports of the CDC statistics, especially in Alabama. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of immoral stuff. Like, for instance, okay, I'll bring in another one. When they started doing this stuff of spit in my mouth type shit, and they started doing that shit during the COVID. Remember? They was doing that shit where the girls was online talking about, yeah, I want a guy to spit in my mouth. It's like, nigga, COVID is out here rampant, and you talking about spitting in a motherfucking mouth. But what is going on is you have to understand that type of activity builds telepathy. It builds psychic capabilities. It builds all because you're unifying with the other human on a chemical scale, on a chemical biological unification is what's going on. And this is also why your wife can tell what's going on when you're gone from the house and whatnot, because of that type of level of unity connection, you know.
And that would be an elixir, pretty much.
Right, you know what I'm saying? This is also goes on in the police department. They go to parties and fuck on the same hoes. All the cops do. And the reason being is because those women hold that connection, they hold that transferring space of power and the unity of all those police officers. And that's why when they hit the field, they have the psychic communication to come chase your ass, and they know where to cut in and what the other officer is doing while I'm doing this and all that type of shit. You dig what I'm saying? It does go down.
Same within the fraternities, the lodge.
Right, the lodges, they get down like that and all of that.
It's heavy.
You know?
This is an interesting one. The mask worn in public eye is to deter you away from the being who is wearing the mask, with the exception of the new entity represented by the mask.
Right. So people wear masks, especially in public. That's what happened with people wearing the little mask for the COVID. You know, you were to respect their submission to the social order. And everybody who did not wear the mask was reverted against and fought against gangland style by those who wore the mask. And people felt extra authoritative against those who weren't wearing the mask. You see? So you are to accept their new persona within the space of wearing the mask. A lot of girls shut down the coochie with the fucking wearing that shit and all that mask shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was hard for communication. It was hard to get it. You know, you didn't really know what you were dealing with. You know what I'm saying? You didn't know if you were dealing with some beautyism or some ugliness when the mask was on. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a nasty, nasty space to be in too, because it depending on where you were, it got violent.
Right. People want to say, and that's also defaults also into Halloween. Respect me in my position of the mask, because humans, the bottom line to magic that is, inside the social system of humans is you don't see me. A lot of people want to operate off of the space of you can't see me. You know what I'm saying? That's what women do with makeup. They're right in front of you, but they have on the makeup so you don't see the reality of who I am. You see?
You said here, it is always better to act as if one did not know or see rather than to explain.
Rather to what?
Rather than to explain. It's better to act like you don't know or didn't see rather than to explain.
Right, and because Neanderthals don't like explanation. But people who don't have, people who don't read books, basically, because books are explanations, and when you read repetitively, you're already prepared for long-winded explanations. Majority of people are not reading books, so they're not prepared for explanations. And if you go anywhere past maybe 2-3 sentences, their attention span will drop off. You see what I'm saying? So it's best to just not explain, and it's also best to act like you didn't see or you didn't hear,
Now, this one here, now I know that because we talked about it, not everybody's meant to know certain things. Certain things you have to kind of keep, and preserve for special group or maybe members of, the lodge or the organization or whatever. But here, and it feel like you did this maybe in a comical space, when you put the keeping of secrets makes one full of shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens is that when you understand human biology, I think what's stated is you have anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds in your intestinal tract at all times. So literally all humans are full of shit, whether they like it or not. They're full of shit, you know what I'm saying? And keeping secrets, there is some weird extra weight or some weird type of metaphysical invisible odor that is created inside of you, because when you understand what a secret is, the secret is actually somebody else's shit that they install in you. And that's why it's a secret, because it's a secret right now that you have shit in your intestinal tract. I don't know that. If I didn't study biology, if the random person don't study, don't look up shit on biology, then you don't know that. So in essence, you having shit in your body is a secret. And that defaults all secrets to be shit. And that's why you have to hide it and conceal it. Just like when a dog takes a shit, what's the first thing he does? He kicks dirt over it. Right. He tries to conceal it. You see what I'm saying? Because it is embarrassing, to know that something so grotesque and stink can come out of your body, which also is a part of you because it came out of you. You see? So too many secrets from too many people, and that's why they have the death confession, and that's why, Catholicism has you must come to the confession box, nigga, and sit with the priest because you're full of the goddamn shit, and then you don't want to have too many secrets in your system, and you get too comfortable with communication with a person, and before you know it, all that shit just starts spilling out, and then the person starts looking at you like you're fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because you got all of these secrets. That's why right now, what's the challenge they're doing right now? We listen and we don't judge. You seen those? The challenge that's going on right now is they got this challenge called "We Listen and We Don't Judge," and people are telling all of the little secret evil shit that they've been doing behind their family members or their friends' backs, and been right.
Oh, okay. Is that like another a mania?
Yeah, a little mania, a little challenge, people trying to maintain some attention space,
Oh boy. Uh, the ether responds to the soul and not the flesh.
Right. So the ether is the liquid form of what and we're talking about the liquid ether. This is not in the wire ether that is inside of your internet cords. Okay. So you have ether cord that runs your internet, okay, which is where our souls are at right now.
Mm.
Now, get that in this camera.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Ethernet is what's feeding the internet and what travels the electricity through the optics or whatever the internet is specifically, it's moving through an ether cord. So when you put your face in the internet, you are inside the ether. Okay. So for me to see you right now, we are both located inside the ether. Okay. Now, when it comes to the silica, which is the liquid form of ether, that is also supposedly the representation of the soul inside the human body, is identified as liquid ether. So there it is.
You recall a show? I think they only had 3 seasons. You remember a show called American Gods?
Bro, that shit was my shit. The first 2 seasons, I didn't allow them to have a third season. I don't think they ever had a third season.
They didn't have a 3rd season?
Nah, that wasn't. I was infuriated about that shit. That episode, that VooDoo episode, that's all me. They did right there. Yeah, that's all me. Just know that. Yeah, I had to live that experience. But the American Gods, phenomenal show. One of the most phenomenal piece of works I've ever seen theatrically on television. I will say that.
You remember the entity who played? It was a young white boy, and his character represented all of social media. You remember that character?
Yeah. I forgot what his name was, but I know what you're talking about.
You remember the scene when he said to the black woman, "Oh, I see. They destroyed all of your altars." And I'm paraphrasing, he was saying, "But I can make it right. And what I will do is give you a social media space and you'll be a goddess again." You
right. Right.
That was heavy.
Yeah, but that is what has occurred.
It is.
Right, because the gods are hidden in words. And they've been allowed to be worshipped again in the space of millions through the internet. And there's been sort of like a dead zone ever since the gods were shut down in, say, like 1600, 1700 zone, until they were allowed to be rebirthed in the 1900s.
Mm-hmm.
Right, through products and through all of that shit.
So with you speaking, and the reason why I bring up this show, because we were talking about, you said ether being, online.
Liquid, right.
And liquid through this internet.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the internet ether, right.
But basically, has the internet become the modern day altar?
Yeah, for all gods. And for all gods and for all saints. For those, it's only an altar for those who recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, let me reach for a god that Ammo.
Uh-huh.
Ammo is a moon. Okay. Ancient Egypt. More ammo has been purchased online than physical stores. So his worship went up. And more ammo has been used because of internet battles and confrontations and all of that. People have defaulted into war space and taken it to the streets because of shit that occurred online. So his worship went up even in the human sacrifice space.
That's
you see what I'm saying? Right. So ammo is a moon from ancient Egypt. Let's get that clear. So anything dealing with ammunition, and firing, which that also defaults into Vulcan from Rome, but Vulcan is correlated to volcano, and there's a whole cuckoldry science that operated with Vulcan too. So it's a little different thing over there. But when we go hardcore to just ammo, then yeah, that's the line for that one god. You know what I'm saying? Or
This is pretty, straight up front, but I still like you to kind of expound on this. Humans have been restricted from knowledge, wisdom, and understanding by their own lack of force. What do you mean exactly by that?
Well, force is a mathematical schema. Force, velocity, speed, weight, work, all of that. You know what I'm saying? And in order to dig into certain zones, you have to be forceful. For me to dig up the medieval, I had to be forceful. I had to read over 150 something books, in order to create that. So there was a force applied, and when you have a desire for something, your desire will not be, received or will not be gained if you do not apply a force to it. It is similar to a lion won't be able to eat without applying force, and may the force be with you. You know what I'm saying? So don't ever listen to, especially a lot of females like to play down the dynamic of, oh, you're so forceful, oh, you're so mannish, and oh, shut the fuck up. You want me to be forceful when this nigga tries to kick in the door? You want me to be forceful when I got the ladies' logs down for the log cabin? Do you want me to be forceful when I got to put this jack underneath this car on the side of the fucking highway and jack this shit up and change the fucking tire? You want me to be forceful when I'm pulling your hair? You understand? Right. You want me to be forceful in those periods, so don't be trying to balance out with your guilt tripping fucking talking. Oh, don't be forceful. Oh, you so mannish. Oh, you know. But you want me to be womanish, motherfucker? Like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? So force is definitely a dynamic that all of us have to use. And it is a part of your survival. If you have to love being intellectual, or you have to love intellect, you have to love intelligence. Basically, what it really defaults down to when it comes to intelligence is that this is a form of high for us. You see that?
Okay.
Everybody doesn't have that form of high. There are certain books, especially when you read my books, that a point hits you, ding, and you're high. Okay. Now, some people need to get high from sweating. Where do they default into? Sports.
Yeah.
You see, some people need to get high from yelling. Where do they default into? A troublesome marriage. They'll default into being a preacher. They'll default into being a sportscaster. You see? So there's different physical euphorias that we search for, which correlate to, how we operate in our day-to-day.
And it's definitely required, that high, what you spoke of a lot before, infatuation.
Yeah.
Infatuation.
Yeah, infatuation is a high, regardless of what you're infatuated about. So there's and this is where the fan club comes in. Yeah, this is where groupies come in. You know what I'm saying? There's certain people who see an individual, they get infatuated about that individual, and that's just what it is. You ever seen situations where you have a whole tribe that worships one rock because it has some crazy shape over here in the corner? They fell into a space of infatuation. That sight puts a euphoria on their nervous system in their mind, and that's just something that they can't directly control. You dig what I'm saying? It's an internal situation, so they get high from it. It's all a high.
Especially when it has a spiritual significance, some type of symbolism, or it came out of the waters of Egypt, or
right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, all right. God made humans in a status of what we know to be retarded. Hence, one had to eat from a tree to get knowledge. That's like those who study, who into the occult, they'll have a ball with that one.
Bro, hey. What do we, bro? I was, dog, after understanding everything with the kicked out of heaven, because like I said, the Ethereal law is the dissertation. And, you know, it's sort of like a cheat sheet, but it's not a cheat sheet, because if you don't really have the feelings from the kicked out of heaven, it doesn't, right. It doesn't really give you that smack, that pow, you know? And, yeah, bro, that kicked out of heaven takes you into some very deep realms into Western religion. And when you really understand how Western religion is designed with a lot of loopholes. There's a lot of invisibles going on. And that's one of those invisibles. You know what I'm saying? If you had to eat from the tree of knowledge, that means you were made in a status of a retard. But then when we understand the status of the retard, maybe that's why Western civilization holds dear to their Down syndromes or their Igors, or, you know, they use them in the status of the limit of what they can be used for. You dig what I'm saying? And they keep them around. They keep their handicaps, you know, and they try to give them the best life as possible, because, you know, on the root side of it, we were born in that inadequate space. We were created in that inadequate space as well. You dig what I'm saying? So,
yeah, and the way I took that is really was just a very blunt way of breaking down not knowing to knowing.
Exactly.
Like once you into the space of knowledge and you deep dive into it, you pretty much can look back at the past before knowing and feel like, man, you know, I thought I knew something and I really didn't. I was ignorant all along, and I thought I, you know, knew more than what I really did.
Right. You know, and just to put a little cherry on the cake with it, Down syndrome babies are always smiling. They're always in the status of being happy because they have a lack of knowledge. Okay, as soon as you get knowledge, the smile turns upside down into a frown.
That's heavy.
Ignorance is bliss, basically.
Yeah, it is. Matter of fact, you have something in here. I didn't get to it yet, but you have a passage that speaks to that. But okay, maybe I'll get to it. But when outside of the garden, the only beings who were around was the devil and Lilith, with all the demons she birthed.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Well, it's stated in the mysticism of Catholicism and Christianity that when Lilith, which is the first female mentioned in the book of Genesis, and when we look into the Islamic philosophy, they stated that Lilith she wanted to have sex on top of the male. So basically, it would be her writing, okay? And that was not equative to the dominance position, which was supposedly, which was, you know, supposed to be the format of sexual activity, was supposed to be the male over the woman in missionary position, you know, and not necessarily in the doggy style position. It was supposed to be missionary. But due to the fact that when you flip that missionary upside down, the woman is on top. And Lilith's argument was, you know, I am made equal to him, so I can have, you know, equal dominance that the male has, you know. And God didn't like that, so she got discarded out of the garden, and outside of the garden, where we had a land of Nod, which Nod means nothing. And we also, and supposedly, this is where all the fallen angels were at. Okay. Now, when Lilith, who turned into the many-breasted goddess, I forgot. Hold on, let me see what name that was. Lilith is supposedly noted to have relations. Yeah, Diana. exactly. She turned into supposedly the Diana or Artemis. Okay, and her sexual union with the devil gave birth to demons, which also is talked about in a couple of verses down. I think it's like Genesis 6, where they talk about the angels came down to earth and had sex with the women and gave birth to the Nephilim, which were giants. Okay, and the spirit of those giants is what float around invisibly as our demons, and you know, which are stuffed into the spirituality of what a stereotype is. You see how that's all connected throughout the spans of time? Right. So a lot of people don't understand that when we look at a word like a drunkard, or even if we look at a word like a dentist, they have spiritualities embedded in them that are actually the demons, which are the children of the fallen angels, which were the fallen angels are categorized as the watchers. Now, these fallen angels are also the ones who taught man mathematics, who taught man perfume, who taught man how to design weapons of war, who taught man how to wear clothing, who taught man all of the systems that we use within our social space. And this is why it defaults to our modern day corporations and Hollywood and all of that worshiping these entities that taught us how to survive on the outside of the garden when we were supposedly neglected by God. Because in reality, we're supposed to be in a punishment position on the outside of the garden. So that means everything that incorporates or allows enjoyment is actually against the law, against the original law. And that's why when you look at ancient Catholicism, laughter was even considered to be a crime. Yeah, you're not supposed to be gesticulating and dancing. Your gyrations is a law against God. Anything that makes you feel good, the consumption of alcohol, the consumption of food, all of that anything that makes you feel good in the status of punishment is against God. And that's why it was the devil who taught humans how to make love.
Woo.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that brings me to the movie The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah. Heavy shit.
Heavy. When Al Pacino said that humans are God's personal gag reel.
Yeah.
Touch, but don't taste.
Yeah.
You know, that was ill.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever spoke about this. I'll ask you just to, what's your do you believe in God?
I believe in God. God, Jesus, Yeshua, Jehovah, y'all the balls, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Ogun, Zeus, I deal with all the systems. I don't deny the existence of anything. You know what I'm saying? Right. We don't know the power of God without witnessing the power of the devil. You know what I'm saying? So I get it, and I get it on a multitude of different levels. If I was to say that what I bow my knee to, it would have to be medieval Catholicism for a multitude of different reasons. But yeah, and that's what taught me this. So yeah, do I believe in God? God is in my name, so I have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I never asked you that. And which either way, I mean, and as far as, my frame of thinking, people go and they have their different belief system, that's fine.
Right.
Whether if you did or didn't, I could, because I know there's different ways in believing as well. People may have one aspect of belief and it's more traditional, which requires the church and things of that nature. Then others may have more private or different type of system how they choose to believe. But I just figured I'll ask that.
But before we continue, let me state this, and this is something that I discovered with writing the third volume of the Kicked Out of Heaven, and everything with the details of Jesus, and how I got all that stuff in there about the cross and the thorns and all of this and the blood and all of that. For you not to believe in God or for you not to believe in Jesus automatically exemplifies that you have hate in you. Regardless of archaeological evidence.
You're gonna have to, okay. You're gonna have to break that down.
Well, I mean, does God represent anything negative?
Mm-hmm.
Does Jesus represent anything of a negative?
So, well,
No.
there are people who don't. To certain people, they may think so.
Yeah, because what they're doing is they're trying to go on to the archaeology side. What did I say? What does Jesus or God represent?
Mm-hmm. Structure,
love, miracles. Okay, hope, faith. There's nothing negative in their representations. So for me to say that I don't believe in that positive space of what they represent automatically makes you a hater. Right. And look at it. Look at what you've experienced in the conscious community. When somebody's trying to explain that Jesus ain't real, you see the foam collecting right here at the corners of the mouth. You see the vein in the forehead comes out. You see the eyes get dense and red. Right. You have become the dark one while you're over here trying to explain that Jesus ain't real. When Jesus is only an example, and he embodies a certain energy. And those energies is what we say is the Easter and the giving and giving of the alms to the poor and spreading the fish out to the community and turning the water to wine, right? Right. So anybody that's trying to explain that Jesus ain't real, they automatically default into hatred and evil, and they don't even know that's what the game that's really being played. Right. The game that's really being played is what your body holds when it comes to the emotional structure, which will predicate your extension of survival, both internally and externally. Right? Because hate that you exhibit towards the world will build ills inside your body.
Right.
Ulcers, cancers, so on and so forth. You know, like the majority of women who die from breast cancer don't have a lover. They're not getting their titties played with, sucked on, all of that shit. And look it up. Next, we go to the next question.
Okay, now this is the social science that you're covering at this part here. A warning to the imposters, the immature and fraudulent. You are Caucasus in the garden of reptiles.
Right. Right. You'll be fed upon. Reptiles eat carcasses. You know what I'm saying? So you will be devoured over time because reptiles are comfortable within who they are as a reptile.
And that actually ties into what you were saying just a minute ago with those who are, if they don't believe in it, that's the anger.
Yeah.
That can it actually produce a fraudulent individual.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because see, snakes are who they are. And reptiles are that's why their animal kingdom is so beautiful. Is because everybody is who they are and they have to operate by a specific fashion in order to, because that's a specific fashion is their order. You see what I'm saying? And that order will be operated by that's their mechanism. That's how they identify and merge with the world, you know. So
now this one here, it's interesting because you have this right on the next page. It says the maintenance of happiness and positivity is staying blind.
Yeah, ignorance is bliss. You know, and a lot of people don't understand the power of maintenance. Maintenance is the root mechanism to life with everything. You know, if you're going to keep your car alive, if you're going to keep your bank account alive, if you're going to keep yourself alive, you know, it requires maintenance, you know.
And you know how I also take this in order to a lot of times function in society and to play well with others, you have to be able to function by letting go of a lot of shit. you can't come into this space, into the world, really with a lot of hangups, because it can really block you and
Right.
from accomplishing these goals.
Right.
You know, yeah, that's heavy.
Hang-ups, OCDs, pettiness, all of that stupid shit. You know, we're not in black race is not in a position to be picky with any goddamn thing. You dig what I'm saying?
Okay. Here's one about complaint. A complaint is proof of mental failure to create a solution. Therefore, complainers are automatically classified as retarded.
Right. If you're complaining, you're proving your inadequacy by the complaint. Right. You know, if you know, if I'm complaining about, you know, the camera not showing good, and I'm talking about my camera. If my camera isn't showing good and I'm complaining about it, I'm proving my inadequacy to buy a new one. Yeah, every complaint is a proof of an inadequacy. You know, and also a dependency.
Okay. Here it says, religion is only needed for those who can't make a positive moral decision on their own.
Right. Religion is a system of civility for animals, you know, which all humans are born in that space. If we observe the activity of an infant doesn't know how to identify shit or piss, and they'll sit there and play in it. You know, right, until social order is implicated. And social order is usually going to be followed by violence, which comes from the parents. That's all religion is. Because there's a lot of bad parenting out here because, you know, and the reason why there's bad parenting is because those at a lower level intelligence do more mating than those who are at a higher level of intelligence in the human kingdom. You know, so basically the degenerates are going to mate and produce more because they're looking for physical feel goods. And they're looking for physical feel goods to balance out the poverty stricken environment that they're in. You see what I'm saying? So that's what also makes, you know, poverty, like once somebody said, poverty, love and poverty only sounds good in books. So basically that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? The majority of the world and the majority of the human thinking paradigm is animalistic. They aren't civil. You know, as cleanliness is next to godliness, that also deals with hygiene and all of that other shit, which is taught to you in all religions. All religions have a system of hygiene. They have a system of food eating. They have a system of clothing attire. They have a system of how you meet and greet with other people. They have a system for how you are to conduct yourself in operation where you don't get negative results. Okay, and those negative results are usually found in pain or violence or being a victim, you know. And so that's what religion is there for, is to teach, you know, humans overall on how to not be animal.
Here, happiness. Now I know I see this a lot, and this statement here, I know people who function like this. It says happiness is really a behavior response from experiencing high level trauma and trying to hide the pain from it in public.
Say that again. What page are you on?
It's on 18.
Okay. Oh, you still early. You ain't even dive all the way up in this motherfucker. We're gonna have to do a part 2. So, which one?
Yeah, happiness. It's
okay.
It's the 4th one down.
Yeah, I see it. Happiness is really a behavior response from experiencing high-level trauma and trying to hide the pain from it when in public. Welcome to the club. Yeah. That's what you're going to the club for. That's what the majority of the individuals in the nightclub is actually like, it is a tree club for traumatized children, but it's for traumatized adults. is what the nightclub is. So basically, you have to really ask yourself what you're doing in a nightclub. You're getting dressed in your Easter Sunday's best to go get intoxicated around strangers. Okay. So why do you need to get intoxicated around strangers? You get intoxicated to forget your woes and your responsibilities, and also to appear happy or to appear financially achieved in front of strangers. And you feel as if you have to prove that because inside you don't really feel in any status of happiness, and you want to get the reciprocation that other people have identified you as happy, when in reality you're trying to hide a lot of the traumatic excuses. Traumatic abuses that you've experienced during your childhood. You see what I'm saying? And this is also like a medieval philosophy that you beat them until they're bright. You whip them with the birch tree until they're bright. And that means they're happy, hyper children running around, because of the sting they felt. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's heavy. What's weird about the club space, that whole social space? That is the only space really where people are able to kind of do the same thing you would if you were watching a movie, which is suspend disbelief. It's the only space where you're allowed to front like you really are this image that you're portraying, right?
Right. You have to portray an image because you can't be authentic, because the authentic image is abused.
Right.
And then when people see an abused person, they're either going to fall into the sympathetic space, or the abused who are actually more abused than you are just going to abuse you further.
But outside of that space, if you was to try to bring the same persona that you do in the nightclub, and let's say in a supermarket, it wouldn't necessarily work.
No.
That's crazy. Yeah,
right.
It's a different. Yeah, it's a whole.
We understand the rules of the environment.
Yeah. Don't pass judgment, and you will be the market's fool.
Right. So the reason that's put in there is because a lot of ladies say, "Oh, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge," and you judge very, very thoroughly when you go to shop. Right? So you have to place judgment on what you're going to intake inside your house, what you're going to intake into your life, and things of that matter. So judging is a part of the everyday system. It's women who tell you don't be judgmental, but they're judging your shoes before you walk up to them. They're judging the smell of your breath. They're judging your hairstyle. They're judging the length of the sleeves on your shirt. They're judging the length of if your pants go over your ankles on your shoe. They judging all of that shit. So they'll tell you to not be judgmental so they can hold the authoritative space of being judgmental. And if you don't have proper discernment on your operations, you are the victim in this world. You will collapse. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you mentioned this a lot, but I'll let you go in again. Trauma designs character.
Right, and there's one we all can't get away from. You know what I'm saying? Trauma is going to design character whether you like it or not, because you grow with the trauma that's already embedded in you. And you also have to understand that traumatic experiences, especially when they're intentional or odd or, quote unquote unnecessary, that is definitely putting the demon operation in you towards your behavior. Right. So when you turn on TV shows of weird eating habits and you see this broad over here eating the stuffing out of the couch, or she's been drinking gasoline for 10 odd years and she just loves the taste and the smell of gasoline, somebody did something to her, or something occurred during the course of her childhood that built that behavior into her dynamic, and it enlarges as you grow. But we're not in a society today that recognizes these type of things as demons. So, right, and that's what they are. You know, any negative behavior activity is automatically defaulted as a demon because there is no positive gain that comes from it.
Wow. Now, the morals have no material, but material will conduct your morals.
Yeah. So when we speak about things like trust, confidence, love, power, where is the physical representation of these things?
Say that again.
What is the physical representation of trust, confidence?
I would think, well, one way it can manifest through business relationships.
Right, but it can only manifest if it's installed in your actions first.
Okay, right.
So, in essence, in the material world that we're in, all of these things are invisible.
Gotcha.
You can't show me power. And see this is a quartz crystal right here, physical. Now, where is the physicality of power or honor or trust or love? There is no physical representation of it. Okay. Now, what are the physical things that will make you exhibit your moral structure? Your vehicle. Okay. Vehicle is material. Now, when you're over here in the white folk land, you see the Rolls Royces, you see the Maybachs, you see all of that. You don't see dents and dings and missing rims and dirty windshields. You don't see none of that. I take you to the other side of town, you will see fenders and bumpers hanging off. You will see missing rims. You will see, the side mirrors knocked off, or there's duct tape on it to hold it in, and that is their moral structure. Usually the people who are hoarders at home are also hoarders in their vehicle.
Yeah.
You see, the home is a material. You see what I'm saying? How long can you possess a material? Shows your level of appreciation. Which appreciation, once again, does not have a physical representation.
Right.
Appreciation is shown through your behavior. You see? Right. I appreciate things. I love things. So I keep things. And that shows my moral behavior by how I treat material.
Okay. The magnificence of humans is in a perfection they will never achieve.
Yeah. Humans are self-sabotage. And self-sabotage comes from a guilt trip of being kicked out of the Garden of Eden. Trying to exemplify the God that, look, I'll hurt myself. Let me back into the space of the garden. I can intentionally destroy myself, because when we talk about self-sabotage, that goes all the way down to the tribal. Okay. They prick their skin for tattoos. This is self-sabotage. They put the bone in the nose. They do a lot of disfigurement towards themselves. And that is a self-sabotage. Within that space of that self-sabotage, you're not reaching your magnificence. And you're also altering the originality of what you were born into. Okay? So your focus isn't on achieving the expertise by repetition of whatever it is that you're trying to do, which will actually put you in the magnificent space of being a god in that realm. You see? So an individual who was born amongst tigers, okay? He's been an infant with the tigers. The tigers find the infant. They carry him by the neck. They feed him. This is a human that we see as human. But the tigers understood it was abandoned and neglected. Now he lives amongst the tigers. He can wrestle with the tigers. He can fight with the tigers. Now he is 20-something years old. He still hunts with the tigers. He can make all the communication, facial expressions, and noises like the tigers. Guess what he has become? He has become a god amongst the tigers. He is now the tiger god. And how we identify him. He has spent 20, 25, 30 years since infancy amongst the tigers and understands everything about them. The tigers will not attack this individual, okay? He can hunt with the tigers, so now he is in that realm of a god in that space. You know.
Now
go ahead.
Oh, did you want to
No, I was just going to give another example, but go ahead.
This right here, I jumped to metaphysics, and this is something I mentioned earlier, and you have something in here pertaining to that comment. It says, you being offended, person being offended, is proof of your mental weakness. And right. I was saying to you earlier, a lot of times in these spaces, when you know, with your literature and people, whether they accept it or don't, a lot of times you have ultra sensitivity amongst our group,
right?
Pertaining to the men, and I said that even being offended by something has to be earned,
right?
What was your, yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was wondering what you made that comment here in the book, and I forgot. I wasn't really aware of it. What's your space and your take on that?
What we're looking at here. Hold on. Let me read it again. It's in metaphysics. What page?
Yeah, 55.
Okay, 55. Here we go. 55.
First one of the metaphysics.
You being offended is proof of your mental weakness, and don't forget to buy this, theblackbible.com. I still got physical copies of it. So you being offended is proof of your mental weakness means that everything that you occurred to you in your life, there's 360 degrees of point of view to it. It's a full circle. So find the degree that makes you happy. You know, you can, and that is going to be based upon where your understanding of existence is at and where your expansion of thought is at. So for you to find offense into things means that you're holding on to something that most likely is not holding on to you. You know, so you like the Lakers, and I say, oh, fuck the Lakers, you know, blah, 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 blah. You get highly offended. The Lakers don't know nothing about you. You know, and you're holding on to something and trying to protect something that you don't know, you never touched, you never seen, you never heard. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you touch and protect and seen and heard and feed a thing, your wife or your family, you can be offended by what somebody says in that notion because you are attached to them. You dig what I'm saying? So basically what I'm saying here is that, you know, it's weak to be offended by anything, you know, because usually individuals who speak in the space to offend you are usually mentally inferior, and they're trying to find some type of space to be a superior to you, but they've already identified themselves as an inferior. You dig what I'm saying? And you know, it's just like I saw Kevin O'Leary one time, and they put him on a news interview, and they said, hey, you know, you just filed for bankruptcy. You know, they're trying to embarrass him or something of that nature. He's like, oh yeah, this is good for the company. We filed bankruptcy. You know, they clean up our credit. Our credit goes back to a 700, and then we can go ahead and file for loans and and do what we need to do. You know, and what the intention is of the inferior. Obviously, the newscaster, the interviewer, was definitely an inferior to Kevin O'Leary, who is a billionaire, I think, by now. You know what I'm saying? And they couldn't touch his space, so they need to try to jab. You know, it's just like how they treated Mike Tyson in the 90s with interviews, and they were trying to make a mockery out of him and trying to arise and we're on TV, so this is a space where I can trying to affect him in some type of way, get a rouse out of him. Yeah, and then he made you look like an inferior. It's a mental weakness, but within that space, he didn't get offended and attack on film, did he? No. And that he didn't do that, so he don't have a mental weakness towards the area of inferiors trying to offend.
Okay.
You see,
for the questions, I'm gonna end it there. Okay. But I want to ask you something. With all the literature you've written, you have these works out, and everything, and you have a lot of material musically, all right? For someone sitting out there and they're saying, you know what? Look what all this man has accomplished. All the writings, all the literature, heavy. I mean, you don't write material that's, the pages, they run deep. I mean, it can occupy your time for a few years.
A few years. Okay? Keep going. Right.
Okay. Woo. Now, my thought is, with a man who's written all this, is brilliant. What drives you to do why music?
Well, I actually started out with music, and I've been rapping. I was known as one of the best freestylers in every school I went to as a kid. Rap was definitely the lane. I lost respect for the whole entertainer thing at around, like, you got to understand, 96, when that whole East Coast, West Coast beef. I know my fans have heard me mention that shit a lot. I was 13. I was living in Rockford, Illinois. Rockford, Illinois did not have a rap radio station. The only area I was in access of any type of rap music was MTV or BET. All my cousins and stuff lived in Chicago. I didn't have no direct communication with them of niggas putting me on to tapes and all this and that shit. You dig what I'm saying? So, my mom played a lot of V103, which at that time only played R&B. My dad could play Mozart and Bach level on the piano. Okay, so regular Negro church. You know what I'm saying? Where we all grew up in. So music was embedded in me. You know what I'm saying? Freestyling and rapping was just a thing all of us did during that time. I knew music was shit and where it was going. The space in between the Immortal Spectacle and the Monster album, the Monster album that you see is attached to the Black Man's Bible. I placed the Immortal Spectacle album to be the album that goes with Kicked Out of Heaven Volume 1. Okay. So there's a space of 7-8 years I didn't even rap, bro. I was done with rapping and all of that shit. And shouts out to Kendrick Lamar and the wins that he just had with the Grammys, because it was actually him who came through with the Good Kid, Mad City, that I smelled the freedom of MCing coming back. I was really opposed and against all of the electronic shit that was in music. I didn't like it. I couldn't conform with it. I sort of dropped out of music when the Laffy Taffy songs came in, and when the Soulja Boy shit came in, I dropped out. I was like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? And the sounds weren't merging with me.
You thought it was trash.
That shit. I'm telling you, it is trash. It was trash. It's still trash to this day. I don't fuck around with it. I don't fuck around with retarded MCs. I didn't listen to the Gucci Man. I didn't listen to the Yo Gotti. I don't give a fuck about what people say and the Negro being all soft and trying to make some old fucking weak ass excuse for a retarded ass nigga on the fucking microphone. We didn't grow up with that shit, bro, and I'm not gonna represent it. I'm not going to merge myself into that shit. I don't give a fuck about how much money you made. You know what I'm saying? That's just the bottom line to it. That's the way I'm going to move with it. Now, if everybody else want to find some old weak ass space where they're trying to allow the bitch ass shit to come through, and now fucking tampons on the fucking microphone, you know, they can't sell fucking 50 records and 50,000 records on their first week, then you weak ass niggas do that shit and sell your fucking culture out like you traitor ass niggas do on the fucking standard. That's what you niggas do. You understand me? And that's why I stay the fuck away from niggas. You understand? So when it comes to what I do on the microphone, a little bit different. But like I said, all shots out to all the MCs I grew up with, from everybody to Snoop Dogg, Pac, Scarface, Nas, you know, Raz, Kaz, and there was a lot of other individuals in between that I fucked with, you know, that I listened to, you know what I'm saying? And once the Monster album came out, at time, I was dividing out of the space of the pimp, and I had to go do something with my life because I wasn't going to stay in that realm forever. I didn't like it. It was, you know, an experience I gained, whatever the fuck. I wasn't going to stay, you know, in an angry mentality with that shit. So I said, fuck it. At that time, tons of beats came out of my fans, you know. And then I needed to do something with that picture, too. And that's a real picture on the cover of the Black Man's Bible. That's me sitting on the tire, you know, with a 45 on my left. Notice, yeah, there's a little baby right there. Yeah, you see that little baby? That's me, and that's my mom and dad on that picture. So I said, you know, let me go ahead and put an album out. Fuck it, you know. Music started getting back to, you know, it made it seem like it was getting back to another space, you know. Of well, go ahead.
Dude, wait. I never knew your mom and dad.
That's my real mom and dad, yeah. Rest in peace to my mom.
I didn't know that. I thought you picked just an arbitrary picture. I didn't know.
No, that's my real mom. That's my real dad. And that is really me on the tire hump. Yes, that's me. With a 45 on, with a real 45 on my lap if you look real close.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know it.
Bro, I looked at that picture my whole life like, yo, this picture is so phenomenal. I gotta do something with this picture, B. And because it was a baby picture. So I threw it in the competition space with the Nas and the Biggie baby picture. You know, the Nas did the baby picture on the album cover, and the Biggie did the baby picture. And I wanted it to be an album cover, but I knew I wasn't at that echelon of rap and labels and for it to be off into the world. So I wanted it to be in some power structure, and that's for the Black Man's Bible, bro.
That's heavy. Wow, that's a classic photo, man.
Yeah, that picture is hard. You know what I'm saying? I looked at that picture my whole life. You gotta understand, my whole life. I was like, yo, this picture's so motherfucking throw. I gotta do something with it. But yeah, that's really my mom. That's really my dad. Wow. That's really me sitting on the hump of the tire. And I forgot what the name of that vehicle is, but that's real shit.
Right. Wow.
You know? And yeah, so I had to put the album together, and to be honest, I was given beats from random sources and fans for my videos all the way up until the Poltergeist album. Okay. So all those beats on the Monster album, the Immortal Spectacle, I made all of those beats. So the Monster album, the Onyx Tablet, the Negro Please. Now the Onyx Tablet was produced by the nigga Red, who also produced Lost and Boys 1 and 2 for Nipsey Hussle. Okay. And the Ethereal Law book and album is actually like metaphysically attached to Nipsey through Eritrea, where he was born. There's actually a Zulu town there. There's a town called Zulu there. So that whole work right there is in the mix of him, because he died while I was producing that work. And then he also died on the same day of the volume 2 of March 31st.
Okay, Kicked Out of Heaven.
Yeah, Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 2. He died on that same day. And yeah, I was given beats all the way up until the Poltergeist album, and then I started buying beats. And then what was I about to say? The Poltergeist. The last beat that I made, because I actually have a beat that I made on every album, except for, I mean, after the Shaka Zulu was done, the beat I made, the last beat I made that was on the album is the GOAT on the Shaka Zulu album.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I made that beat.
Okay.
So I wanted to keep the music alive. People liked what I was doing with music. I understood people needed a space of reality inside of music. I understood that it was being bullshitted, okay? And it's being bullshitted by puppet masters, and a lot of these niggas is puppets, B. You know, and I mean, I understand it. It's minstrel shit. Niggas got to survive. Niggas got to eat, so on and so forth. There is truly a magic system being put in place to keep niggas retarded. And I could be wrong about that, and niggas are just naturally retarded, keeping the boundaries there. It could be one or the other. It could be one or the other. You know what I'm saying? They got to keep them. You got to keep the herd in place, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So it could be one or the other. They could be naturally retarded, or we're trying to keep them retarded. You know, it's one or the other. So that's what happened.
We do know for money they'll play into it. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. It's just like in the Black Man Bible. I said that the most phenomenal, most intelligent songs that was ever produced in hip hop was by my nigga Raz Cash, who did Nature of the Threat and who also did Interview with the Empire. So they put him on an interview with Vlad TV, and Vlad TV going to try to enforce Raz Cash to say that somebody else produced the most intelligent song or some other shit that was going on. Like, nigga, please, nigga. You know, but yeah, that's how they operate. They operate like, because Negroes operate like that. There is no fine line, or there is no direct answer to what the shit is. And to this day, you can't play me a track that can defeat Nature of the Threat or can defeat Interview with a Vampire. Period.
Yeah.
Not if you're intellectually sound. I'm sorry, it is not there.
Yeah, I had Razk's first album, and I remember hearing them back then. I was like, "Who is this dude?" Like, man, yeah.
Yeah, you're not fucking with that Nature of the Threat or that Interview with the Vampire. You're not doing it, baby. You're not doing it. You know.
Yeah, that's something. And I wanted to ask you that question live about why music, and because it's amazing that you came up with all this and you put these works together and then said, you know what, but I'm also going to do rap. And to me, musically, you're just as brilliant on the mic as you are literature. And that's not a space really people are not used to. They're not used to seeing that.
Right. They're not right. It's not a balance. Right.
You don't line up like that. You're inferior a little bit in one place, but strong in the other. Now that seems more normal, but to have it both and you're in both worlds like that, that's phenomenal, man. That's phenomenal stuff.
I really appreciate you stating that. And let me give you the true finite answer to what I really see what you're reaching for on the question now. The angels begged me to keep sound alive, bro. That's what happened. That's why the Money Religion got produced the way it did. That's where all the old school samples started coming in. I was begged literally to keep sound alive. Okay, which means that we will operate with instruments, okay? Because instruments are created by humans. We have to understand a trumpet was melted down. It was beat into place. It was molded. Had to hang up for a minute, had to put it in the water, you see what I'm saying? Like, the people of today don't understand the details of what occurred in order to create a violin. But you had to temper the wood, you had to bend the wood, you had to, the original what's the names were made off of horsehair, with all of that type of shit. Yeah, so there's no respect for sound, because when you listen to a saxophone or a violin or a guitar that was structured in that area, you are not just listening to the strums of the person that is playing it. You are also listening to the loves embedded during the course of its creation. These pianos, these violins, and all of that, look at the names that's written on them. These families go back hundreds of years with the creation of those instruments. And for you to synthesize it down to a fucking key in a fucking piano is highly disrespectful to the thousands of years of sound that we have operated, danced by, and made love to, coming from ancient Egypt, Phoenicia, Acadia, Assyria, Greece, Rome, and all of them. Do you understand? Okay? The banjo, Native American instruments. Do you understand that? So for us to fuck around and think an MPC is phenomenal is extremely ignorant, and it's extremely disrespectful towards our human lineage, towards the gods that we have created that mirror our activity over eons of time.
Not to mention the alchemical process required to make said instruments. Yeah, it's heavy.
You see? So that's what the angels and the devils were begging me to do with music, was to keep original concept. And original concept is based in how we communicate with each other. Like a little homie asked me, he was like, bro, what was music about in the 80s? Bro, it was man singing to woman about love, and it was woman singing to man about love, bro. And all the different facets. And that was 80% to maybe 90% of the concepts of what music was. Okay? So that needed to be kept in space during the course of them trying to bring third parties, and during the course of them trying to develop this LGBT fucking nonsense on the planet. If you think music has nothing to do with the influence of that, you've lost your goddamn mind. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the money religion came out like it did. That's why, a lot of my music comes out like it did, bro. I'm held in the responsibility of the invisible. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta, that's just what it is, B. Like my homies asked me, he was like, yo, when will the world see another artist that can do a man in the mirror like Michael Jackson, bro?
Yeah. That's heavy.
You're not gonna see what these niggas is doing today on no man in the mirror level, B, of no Michael Jackson, dog. You're not gonna see it. Bitch ass nigga can't even hold down a bowl of Captain Crunch. You understand me? Look, I'm trying to tell you right now, dog. No.
Yeah. That was the last. After that, that was it. Well, bro, I'll end it here. This was great. I like to tell you, those of you out there listening, this really does not work unless you support. And I really present a challenge to everybody out there. Go ahead, man. Just go ahead and drop it and show support, show financial support, because that's the only way really this works. I know it's, to tap in and people watch and it's comfortable and you take down information. But if you go through all these videos, the brother's been spitting a lot of information here, and you really don't get this type of information nowhere else. And I know because I look. This only works through financial support, and that's how the world works. Not just this space here, the entire planet. So please, by supporting, that's how brothers like Keenan Booker is kept alive. You know how when a loved one passed, or if you're into mythology systems, you set an altar up for the gods and goddesses. Well, they survive how? Because you call their names, you light the candle, the incense, you put out the water. the saints survive because of the saint days and the festivities. This brother's a human being right here on earth in flesh and blood. Bruh, we need support.
No, I mean that's what it is, bro. And you know, we as black people, we still have a fear of trying to control things. You know, and financial investment is you definitely have creative suggestion within what's being developed. This is how stocks work. This is how business works. You know, and it's called infatuation. You understand? If you're not infatuated, then you're not going to invest in. And if you're not investing in, you're not thoroughly infatuated. But infatuation is also the key degree of love. You understand? So you have to understand that. And if you know, like you said, if y'all keep me alive, I have to vacate to a system that's going to keep me alive. You understand? I done been up on this internet doing this shit for 17 motherfucking years, you know, and I love intelligence. I love books. My last name is Booker. That is just a part of my character type and what I do. You dig what I'm saying? And that is very confusing. They don't really understand that. You know what I'm saying? They really expect you to default into, you know, the nickel bag and the basketball. Okay, is where they want the Negro to be. You understand? But when I come through with, because and let me say this before we go, because what you're leaning on is with the combination of the music and the books, you're not going to disrespect rap or what a rapper is, and you're not going to insult my intelligence on what existence is. And I want you to find somebody else who says that for you. You're not going to be able to find that person. You understand that? And that is also a responsibility for you. I don't give a fuck what you say, think, or feel. Okay? You have a responsibility not to allow people to classify you as a clown. Don't let anybody disrespect or insult your intelligence by the way you speak or even how you dress. And that does not mean that you have to exemplify their level of academia and scholasticism and how they think you should be educated, because you don't know their culture line. You don't know the in-depths. Over here at the Money Religion, we study the in-depths. And that's all there is to it. You dig what I'm saying? So that's really where the combination is at. You're not going to insult rappers, which I am a rapper, and you're not going to insult black intelligence, which all of these books come from black intelligence. And that adjusts the social picture on how individuals view us.
Exactly.
You see? You dig what I'm saying? So like he said, keep a nigga alive. I'm keeping y'all alive. I got the books going, Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1, 2, and 3, The Black Man's Bible, The Ethereal Law, Paperback, and then you get the 4 ebooks, Real Nigga Etiquette, VooDoo Edition, the Encyclopedia on the Alchemy of Woman, Volume 1 and 2, all for $100. You better get it now, because when it's gone, it's gone. You understand me? So is there anything you want to say before I go ahead and play some music and we out of here?
All right, till next time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna be doing it again, y'all. We're gonna be having a lot of interviews with me and the homies. So, you know, get used to it. All right. And we out of this, man. Peace. Let me see here.
industry. You cannot pick through these naps. You cannot mob on the streets. You will get touched with other we like our women country sweet. Peanut butter thick from the head to the feet. Candy paint, make them paint. Sit on these leather seats. Working
Alright, 2 B's and 2 bills.
in this meat, nigga.
Alright then.
When she turned the lights off, all she see is gold teeth. She say something deep because she know I'm gon' be. I put that Al Green on repeat and she gon' leak. It's all good in your hood, I hope that's understood, nigga. Glenwood the Boulder Crest, backwoods and roll the best. Golden zest, that'll make you hold your chest, leave your home of stress. Sit on chrome, I do suggest. Never know as dark as death with the righteous steps. Yes, I'm creasing press to impress. Part of the success, blood, tears, and sweat. Thug years make a vet. Drug deals for a check. Slug seared through your flesh. I won't hear nothing next. I'm not the nigga to test. Hard head make a soft ass. Slow bitch make some fast cash. Nigga, I guess that last laugh when you cross that path of the saucy dad. They be awfully mad, cause them wheels be tall. You gon' clearly see his ball. Don't be near me when you fall, cause I'll be peeling them draws off your wife to some Brian McKnight. As I watch them ham hawks pour some scotch on my ice. Smile, bitch, we are living the good life, that's right. I stay down, nappy head is my crown, nigga. This the remarkable flow of the 720. Let a bitch nigga know everywhere that I go. I spit mythology, probably as tall as the top of trees. Obviously, you can't cross the G. Mixed with a bit of Socrates, Mephistopheles. Never lost the keys of philosophy. This is P-O-P-E. Drop to your knees. I'm the monster to please. Don't fuck with the tease. Treat souls like geese. And on the day of the feast, we watch the dough increase. With every move I make, I choose who's to fake. Never chase a two-face. There are rules to break, but I never lose the case. I win, win, win. And I stay on a bitch's ass like Rin Tin Tin. Not to defend, no legend gonna regret his sins. But only Motown can make these boys to mend. The toys I'm in are large and in charge for your fake ass facade. I'm a Saga City nigga, we be going too hard. The God 720, descent from the stars, I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take the Delta crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take the Delta crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. This is Robin Artisan, chewing on the hearts of men with the darkest of skin. I hearken the wind, sipping green demon Heineken for the vice and the sin. Let the larkin begin. Yeah, I'm a different nigga. Mind your business, bitch, and get your figures. Immortal spectacle, I deliver the state of the art. Watch me take my gun apart. Only animals survive Noah's Ark. I bark when I eat raw, I heat saw. When I seek y'all, treat your beef like a meatball. The present can never walk, you see in my balls. Sipping whiskey, key call, standing 20 feet tall. Elite eagle, we only live by tooth and the claw. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take that tilted crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take that tilted crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. The python with Venom, I move like recon on the streets of Henom. Everyone wants to hunt the King Kong, conquer just to be strong. Heads on the altar could never be wrong. Your weakness best to be gone. Let the OG get his preach on and say amen. We slay and skin anybody in my way when the days are grim. Keep an exotic bitch that's way past 10. It is 3 a.m. We still getting this cash. Never know what cell phone call might be our last. When we blessed from the stress, we laugh, always best to smash. Never arrest or clash with the police above the law. God is keeping the peace, cause I'm known on the streets. So sit down and have a drink with the Cro-Magnon beast. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take the tilted crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take that tilted crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. Tell me what's more powerful, the pen or the sword? I'm a master of both, call me the warrior lord. Eyes are horny for gore, sharpest tusks of a boar. Don't nobody want war, with that rip-rap more. Everybody gets touched, there's dry blood on your swords. Everybody gets fucked, like your wife on my tour. My lyrics come from my core, once I was vague up, I'm poor. Now I walk on red carpets and they open up doors. We've all seen it before, yes, the smiles and the lies, the drama and the cries. 4-5 on my side when I solo ride. Hear the screeching outside, black skies and red eyes, high heels and black ties, long money, large pride. Every time we laugh, we hold a savage inside. Everybody claims God, can't hate that I tried. I arrived in Sin City and the devil supplied, so now he don't gotta hide. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take that tilted crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT. Right hand up, left hand down. Now show me the nigga that wants to take the tilted crown. I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT.